So I graduated from high school in 2008. 2009 and 2010, I went to university. 2011, I went straight into the corporate world and climbed the ranks from 2011 until 2018 when I threw it all in and I left. I left to go online full time with my online business, with my personal brand, selling information products, selling coaching, selling consulting. And now we're 5 years in, 2023, and I reflect back at that journey of leaving the corporate game and going full-time online, and then actually sustaining an online business for an extended period of time. And I wanted to film this video for the people out there who are either trying to get out of the corporate grind or maybe have recently and are feeling a bit anxious, uneasy, uncertain about a different path where maybe you are running an online business and you're looking at the years ahead and you're a little bit uncertain about, how you can really consolidate and solidify and build something strong for the long term. I want to take this video in a couple of different directions, and I hope that there's something in here for those types of people and really for anybody that's trying to get out of a job that maybe feels like it's run its course. Doesn't necessarily mean you don't enjoy it. I learned a lot from my job and I loved it at the time, but when it came to leaving and moving on to what I do now, the timing felt right. I was ready. And so really this is for anybody that's in that position and is trying to escape or has recently escaped and is looking at the landscape of running an online business full time and maybe is feeling a little bit uneasy about it. I want to tell you my story of making this happen, and in sharing that story, hopefully weave in some critical lessons of taking my brand and business from scratch, from nothing, to having generated millions of dollars over the last few years. There's been highs, there's been lows, there's been a lot of amazing moments, but there's been some huge challenges, both inside the business and outside the business. I've met some amazing people and I've had run-ins with people that I don't like to reflect on. There's been challenges. It's been an absolute ride. This process of running an online business will challenge your mindset in ways that you probably can't even quite appreciate now, and you've got a lot to look forward to on this journey. Okay, so I want to rewind the clock with you all back to, like I said, 2011. I got into the corporate game, and it was actually around that time that I started in the corporate space that I also started to get my first interest in the online game. I found a website called Flipper and started dabbling around over there. But very, very quickly, my online business kind of had to be put to the side because the corporate thing was too much work, right? It just needed all of my focus and attention. That then very rapidly rolled into 2012, 13, 14, 15, at which point I was presented with an opportunity to move from Australia, where I was working, to go work in New York for a couple of years. I was in the finance space, consulting, and so this was an amazing opportunity, and I went through an application process and was selected. And so that was my life for 2016 and 2017. It was a 2-year arrangement. And it was in that second year living in New York, 2017, when I could see that second year coming to an end, and I could see myself coming home, and I was really going, do I want to go back to what I was doing before, right? If I'm going to make a change, this feels like a really good time to do it. It didn't quite pan out how I wanted it to, but I'll tell you more about that in a moment. And so in 2017, when I was kind of deep in the corporate game living in New York, I was working in corporate restructuring, and we worked on pretty high profile cases. And so I couldn't have a big social media presence at the time, like I do now. And so I had to find a way to get rolling without doing that. And so what I actually started doing was blogging, okay? And now I didn't really want to go down the path of monetizing what I knew, because up until that point, what I knew was accounting and financial advice, was corporate restructuring, and in moving to an online business, that I didn't want to continue down that line of study or subject matter. I wanted something different. And the the internet marketing world, back from that time in 2011, had always really interested me. There's this group of people out there who had developed skills and connections and audiences and an ability to essentially create products and services kind of out of thin air. And because of the relationship and the rapport they'd built up with the people in their audience, if they could create a solution, they were able to monetize really, really heavily. And so this internet marketing world really appealed to me. I started buying a few books again in early 2017. Like I said, at the end of that year, I was due to come back to Australia, and started going down the rabbit hole, so to speak. I read a Tony Robbins book. I read Launch by Jeff Walker, and somehow via that process, I ended up in a marketing audience for Russell Brunson. That was really my first, big entry into the model that ultimately kind of changed everything, so to speak, which was affiliate marketing. Okay, and so for the people watching this who are looking to get started online, or maybe are already down the rabbit hole but are a bit uncertain about things, this is a model that can afford you a lot of flexibility, because you really just have to build an audience and recommend stuff to them. Okay, now obviously there's a lot of nuances, obviously there's a lot of different ways that you can do this, but it simplifies the model down to just focusing on the front end, to building an audience, to learning marketing, to learning sales to a degree. There's an element of it. But you can really take a lot of pressure off yourself because you aren't as worried about the back end, all of the merchant accounts and support and actually creating a product or delivering a service. It allows you to simplify things down a lot. And this really appealed to me back then because of how busy I was with the job that I was in, 60, 80 plus hour weeks. And I saw this as an opportunity to get my foot in the door without compromising the job. Like I said, I couldn't be big on social media. And two, without needing to take on too much at a time in my life when I was really busy. And so combining that model and a bit of research and a bit of investigating, I started blogging because I could do that sitting behind the scenes. I could do that without needing to be kind of big on social media. And I sought out advice from people who were doing really well combining those two things, blogging and affiliate marketing. And I came across a guy named Greg, who's still a good friend of mine to this day. And he had a massive impact on the trajectory that things took. I bought a course of his that was $100 at the time. And as I sit here now, all these years later, looking back, it's amazing what that one little decision to invest $100 in a little video course, right? And courses get a lot of hate online, I think completely unreasonably. But that decision to spend $100 really was a catalyst for everything in a big way for me. And it gave me the tools and the roadmap and the clarity to start exploring. And so in that first year in 2017, I built up a little blog in my spare time when I was on trains, when I was in Ubers, when I was flying out to clients, in the little gaps between work, right? If I got a little bit of spare time on the weekend, I was building that little blog, right? And it was nothing fancy. And all I was doing was reviewing different books and softwares and products online and just trying to figure out the game. I'm not the most tech savvy person in the world. My clients know that. And so I didn't go hyper deep down the technical side of blogging. I kept it pretty simple and was kind of able to stumble and bumble my way to about 15 grand in that first year. What I did well was I didn't overthink it. When I learned something, I implemented it. If I saw an opportunity, I implemented it. It was a matter of taking action as quickly as possible within the parameters of the time that I had that really got me in motion. And I wasn't expecting a lot in that first year, but what I wanted to do was at least get into momentum, because heading back to Australia in the following year, I didn't want to come back and be starting from scratch. And while I didn't, it didn't change the world, 15 grand, it got my foot in the door. And I started learning things and I started seeing how the game was played, and I started learning about generating traffic and creating content and building a list and all these fundamentals of the game. Because I was able to start sooner, and I had these limitations, but I didn't throw my hands in the air and say, well, I can't do that, so I just can't do it. You find a way, right? You find a different mechanism that fits your situation and you figure it out. And so that got me rolling in 2017. And then when I got back home in 2018, I took some time off unpaid from the job because I simply wasn't ready to take the leap full time. And I said to myself, it's really now or never. Like, this is my time to go hard on this and see if I can make this work, right? Like I said, I was deep down the rabbit hole with affiliate marketing, and Russell Brunson was the guy that really introduced me to that. And so what I did was they had their own affiliate program and they had this thing called the Dream Car Prize. And so I kind of became a bit obsessed with winning that, right? They'd got me into the game. I'd learned a lot from them. I was pretty well connected in the community at that point. Greg, who I'd learnt off, was doing really well with promoting their software and their suite of products. So I just really focused on that. And this was where I learnt one of the most important lessons that's carried with me and still carries with me to this day, which is having one clear focus at any given point in time that you want to build towards, right? And for me, it became winning that award. Not necessarily for the award itself, although that was cool and pretty prestigious in the space because not a lot of people had done it. And not even necessarily for the income, because I was earning pretty good money in my job, but it was more to prove to myself that I could actually make this work. It was about proof of concept. It was about developing trust in myself that, hey, you can do this, because that was the foundation I knew that I would need if I wanted to go full time with this. Okay. And so I took time off in the first half of 2018 to really try and figure this game out. I kept doing the blogging, started the personal brand, started a Facebook group, started learning about ads, and it was really how many different things can you throw at the wall to try and figure this out and make it happen. And things started really trending in the right direction. I was lucky enough to connect with some awesome people who helped me out a lot along the way, learning the power of mentors, learning the power of investing in courses and coaching and advice and one-to-one consulting and different things that can fast track you towards whatever that one big goal is that you're trying to achieve. I learned these lessons firsthand and they've stuck with me every single day since. And come to August 2018 and I hit that goal that I'd set back in 2017 when I was first kind of introduced into that world. I eventually set it, okay? Now the promotion that I'd seen for that goal originally was to do it in 100 days. I took a lot longer than that, right? It was nearly 18 months into the game. And this is another lesson you'll pick up along the way is there's very few linear paths from exactly where you are right now to exactly where you want to be. There's going to be ups and there's going to be downs and it's going to look like this. That's the reality of it. But the thing that you can develop, the superpower that you can develop to beat any competition that you come up against, right? Other people that might be trying to do similar things or might be trying to sell to similar customers is consistency, ruthless consistency. I had mentors back then that have subsequently now, in the last 12 months, become clients because they're so impressed with the ruthless consistency that I've deployed over the last 4 or 5 years, right? That can become your superpower. And I started seeing the benefit of that focus on the one big thing and then the ruthless consistency deploying strategies to work towards that one thing. Even if you tried different things, not moving the goal, keeping a focus on that one big thing became really critical. And I hit that in August 2018. Come September, I'm still working my job at this point. I'd gone back. I took a bit of unpaid leave in the first half and then went back to work in the second half of the year. I was working big hours again and now dealing with a growing online business. It was taking off. I think I was at about 10 grand a month at that point. And I was starting to even help people with a little bit of coaching since I'd really started to develop a stronghold in the affiliate marketing space. I was just selling kind of one-to-one coaching. I was monitoring my ads. I was trying to grow my group. I was writing content. I was doing a lot. And I was doing that all after I'd get home from work at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. So it became a lot. And what inevitably happens when you try and do too much at any one time is you start to sacrifice other things. I sacrificed my health in a big way, exercise, relationships took a hit, and I actually got sick. My blood pressure went through the roof, and I got home one night in September of that year, and I just did not feel right. Went to the doctors the next day. They're like, yeah, you need to slow down. So it basically became a choice of one or the other. And I chose, okay, I'm probably not exactly where I want to be just yet in the business, but I'm going to have a go at it. And I left my job at that point and went all in on the online business. So it took from, kind of starting down this path in 2017 until September 2018. So coming up on 2 years, just shy of 2 years, juggling both with a bit of time off in the middle, admittedly, but juggling both in order to really make the jump. And this would be another piece of advice to you is don't put too much of a crazy timeline on it because you're just going to work yourself into the ground. There really isn't a huge rush. You've got time, and it's better to learn the right skills, build a solid foundation, not sacrifice your health and relationships and anything else like I did, and do it more methodically and do it more strategically and slowly rather than running yourself into the ground. Okay, that's something I look back at, and while I don't have regrets because I'm really happy with how I've got to where I am today, I wish I hadn't necessarily flipped my priorities as much as I did. Okay, so take your time. It's going to be okay. All right, so then once I went full-time, I actually took a little bit of time off per doctor's advice and kind of slowed down and really reset and started researching, and this was where I found the world of selling higher ticket information, right? It was really exciting to me that you could sell a course or sell a coaching program still as an affiliate and make $1,000. I think the biggest commission I earned in that period was about $6,000 on a sale. And so I started going really deep down the high ticket affiliate marketing rabbit hole, worked with a few more companies, won a few more awards. The business really took off. The brand was starting to develop a lot more credibility and a strong reputation in the industry. And things just continued to evolve from there. Right? So I developed this stronghold in the affiliate marketing space, won a bunch of awards, got a lot of results. And it was at this point in time that I realized when you build a personal brand, you've got the ability to monetize in a lot of different ways, and you've also got a lot of flexibility. So it was at this point that I pivoted from just doing affiliate marketing to actually rolling out a course/coaching program with a couple of guys in the industry about all of the cool stuff that I'd learned in relation to affiliate marketing over the previous few years. Okay, that course has since done over $1.5 million and is still selling today. And this is a huge lesson and a huge light bulb is when you build a business around your name, the different avenues that you can explore to monetize, there's so many, right? The other thing is, as you learn new things, as you learn new problems that you can solve, as you learn new things and implement them and get results, you can start to productize or turn into a service, be it through coaching or consulting, your methodologies that you've discovered, created, built with help from different people and kind of synthesized down into your own approach. You can turn them into products and services for your own business. And this is where this type of business really comes into its own, because it really just comes down to two steps. It's one, I need to keep building my name. I need to keep building my reputation. I need to have more and more people knowing who I am, and we do that through our content, whatever the kind of major vertical or major niche that we're in. And two, I need to solve problems. I need to solve problems for myself, and then I need to turn around and productize those and help other people solve those problems. And as long as you're helping people overcome problems that are particularly painful to them, you will make money. Okay, then you start to explore the different ways that you can package up your solutions to those problems, right? I've got a $27 a month newsletter. We've got courses that are anywhere from $100 up to $3,000. We've got group coaching programs up to about $20,000. I do one-to-one consulting, which is about 50 grand a year. And it's all relatively similar kind of quote unquote raw information, because I know what I know and I've done what I've done, and people know what I can help them with, but the level of intimacy in terms of the implementation and how much help and support they get really is what varies, okay? Obviously, there's differences in the level of information between the super low ticket stuff and when you get into the higher ticket stuff on the back end, but where it really notches up and where you can really crank up price is through support implementation, which involves more of your time. And so this is how the business can grow and evolve into a full-blown personal branded information business that can make you millions of dollars, is through that consistent growth in terms of growing your audience, in terms of taking on new challenges, solving new problems, kind of reporting back to your audience in terms of, hey, I did this cool thing. Do you want to learn how I've done it? And you continue to evolve and grow. And the stability for the people that are trying to get out of the corporate world, or the people that have left the corporate world, the stability will come through your ability to continue to grow. Your hunger, your appetite, your curiosity to learn new things, to test new things, to continue to increase your prices, to continue to try different products and services, to continue to network and develop JVs, your hunger and your ambition that are going to be the thing that gets you out of the corporate job in the first place. It's those same fundamental things that will keep you in the game for the long term, right? If you lose those things, it becomes really, really challenging, okay? So that's my story. That's how I've kind of gone from full-time corporate to running a personal branded business that sells information, right? I wanted to share that with you to just give you, I guess, a real life case study of someone that's been able to do it, who juggled the corporate game early on and overcame the challenge of both of those, as well as, health challenges and sacrificing certain things It is possible. As hard as it may seem when you're deep, deep, deep in the trenches, it is possible, okay? A couple of pieces of advice to really, I guess, bring this all together for you. I said before, make sure you slow down, go methodically, don't try and move too fast, because it can cost you things that you can't necessarily get back. Your health being one example. The other thing to understand is that if you go down the path of building a personal brand, you've probably got a lot more flexibility than you realize. This is always my recommendation to people, is where possible, right? Build the brand around yourself and build an audience of people who are interested in reading your stuff, watching your stuff, listening to your stuff. They will follow you, okay? If you build the brand in the right way, they will follow you. What this means is that your product suites can continue to evolve. Your services can continue to evolve. As your interests change and you grow, which you will, you can start to help different people and offer different things and look at different services and products, and you can evolve as a person and evolve as a business and bring the existing business along with you. You don't have to change or start a new business every single time. This is the power of building a personal brand. So however micro that starts for you, right? Like for me, as I said, it began with making 15 grand in a year, figuring out and bumbling my way around the blogging space. That became the catalyst for the personal brand in 2018 when I started my Facebook group. I was simply talking about what I'd learned, okay? So for the people that are really early on, the key lesson here is you've got to get out there and achieve something. You've got to get out there and learn something and then go and implement it and get a result. That becomes the first spark that you can then start to talk to your audience about, hey, I did this thing, here's what I learned. You're not saying you figured it all out, you're just saying, I've done this one thing, right? And while $15,000 in blogging is nothing by comparison to someone like Pat Flynn, right, made millions with their blog, there's people out there who haven't made $15,000. And to them, that is really, really interesting, right? Why do you think videos on YouTube, for example, about how to get your first 1,000 followers on Twitter, why do you think they blow up, right? Is because people don't need to hear from someone who's got 1 million Twitter followers if they're at 0. They might want to hear from someone who's at 1,000 because it's recent. And this is where beginners can develop an advantage. And this is where you can roll out new products and grow and evolve as you learn how to tackle new challenges, okay? So that's a couple of key takeaways, lessons, my story, and I really just wanted to share this for the people out there who come across this video or who are in my audience already and are in the corporate game or want to get out of the corporate game. It's possible. There's some important lessons in there, and I'm really excited to see what you do with it all. Okay, you can head over to jacobcaris.com if you want to join my list, you want to join the group and get more active in what we've got going on. But keep at it, because if you want to get out of the corporate game and you want to do this full time, it is possible. It's not going to be easy. There's going to be highs, there's going to be lows, but press on and it'll be the best thing that you've ever done. I appreciate you hanging out with me today. I'll talk to you on the next video. Cheers.